Hey YouTube, this is the art of prepping. Just was thinking about the variety of things that could go wrong, and the things that can go very wrong. And there's just the various degrees of disasters, of crises, of calamity, and it got me thinking about what would be the worst ones out there possible. And by no means am I a doom and gloom kind of person, but it was just a passing thought that I grabbed a hold of, and so I came up with the top 10 most difficult natural disasters to survive, and these are all going to just be things that happen regardless if humans are involved. The next video will be the top 10 most difficult disasters to survive that are man-made. So stay tuned. So in terms of the top 10 natural disasters, we have I have solar winds, which is a type of storm that comes off the sun that can create an EMP effect when it actually overstimulates our ionosphere. I'm sorry, and on the polar caps, the amount of radiation coming from the sun, it cannot be absorbed or reflected, and it actually starts to come into inside of our atmosphere, causing massive meltdown of our grid, and fires and so forth. It would be devastating, and it wouldn't possibly be global, but it would be present in massive regions in the world, and it would take our grid down. It would disrupt life for potentially not only just months, but maybe even years in some areas, depending on the availability of transformers and so forth. The real large tsunamis is another one. Those are just devastating. It just comes in and it just levels the whole beachfront property, even going miles and miles inland. Those people have pretty much no chance. The wave surges are just pretty much something that the average person can't resist that kind of power. Even buildings built very well on the coast, depending on the type of storm here, they're not going to be able to manage a tsunami. Large earthquakes, they can just level ground. There's really not much you can do. Sometimes you don't have much warning at all, if any. Difficult thing to prep for. You can always have your supplies and an egress route, but if you don't have the time to get out, then it's a difficult situation, because you may be in a building and it may not be able to withstand the power of this particular earthquake, and you could get stuck inside there. Large hurricanes, once again, it's just like it could have major wave surf. It could have, it's almost like a insane type of tornado coming at you. And I debated about tornadoes on the list. I didn't put it on there, but it would kind of fall under this category. Just super large cell super tornadoes is kind of what I would think is a comparable to our large hurricane. Pandemics is number 5. It'd be a horrendous thing to have to see a whole generation of people wiped out, or just having to be quarantined for weeks, if not months, because you can't go in the city because there's something that just kind of mutated and got out, and any exposure could kill you. I think this is where a lot of the zombies types of stories come from, that they talk about this kind of outbreak, and even though it's a generic form of what could happen, it's a possibility to have these types of outbreaks. Ebola is just one of those. Either if that was man-made or not, it's debatable. There's a lot of people say a lot of things, and so regardless of how these things start, they do start. And from time to time, I would imagine that a lot of these do have an origin and just a natural mutating type of state. Okay. Number 6 is a large comet or meteor collision with the Earth. This is just something that you can't really do anything about either. I mean, maybe unless you had like a really deep Earth bunker, the average citizen doesn't have that by any means. Only the very top echelon of maybe governments and government continuity programs would have that. Maybe some black ops, compartmentalized programs have them, but that's about it. So if you're in the area, the blast and the heat would kill you, and then maybe later on the fallout from how much dirt and dust it's cooked into the sky would just would keep it, keep ash falling for potentially months and keep you from growing crops. It would be horrible. Global famine and pestilence is number 7. This would be horrible if you couldn't eat. If there was some kind of disease for the plant that was prevalent, or some type of insect or bug that had the ability to kill the majority of crops, and there was a shortage of food, it would just be devastating. Millions of people could die if this broke out. And this is a concern with GMO foods. This is anytime you mess with the ecosystem and you mess with the balance of nature, this could happen. But regardless of man-made intervention, pestilence and famine from time to time happen naturally, even without our intervention. So one more reason to store food. Death of the ocean's ecosystems. I mean, there could be regional pockets, if not large pockets. Could be underground or underwater, earthquakes or volcanoes. Obviously, it would have to be a magnitude of unseen proportions to do that kind of damage, but it is a possibility. Number 9, massive regional flooding. It took me a little while to get to this one. I didn't really know if that was that substantial, but anybody that lives near a major riverway or even a lake, that when it floods, it's powerful. And you can only imagine if, surges from a hurricane, for example, like down there in, New Orleans, when Katrina hit, massive flooding. Flooding can level whole areas. It can cause all kind of sanitation problems, and it provides also mobility issues. You can't move about. You can't access, resources, and it's just a nightmare on every level. So there's something right there. It's actually a pretty big one right there. Massive regional flooding, which are fairly, rare, but this is probably the one that if any of these happen, this is the one that probably happens the most. But there's so many varying degrees of this one, and it's a little bit hard to prepare. You may know maybe a couple of days ahead of time that there's something big coming, or maybe there's just a prolonged rain that never seems to end. So you may have some indication this is coming up, but it still can sneak up on you. Okay, and the last one is going to be prolonged heat waves or cold extremes like blizzards or ice storms or just, intense snowfall. So basically temperature extremes and also the things that come from this. For example, like I said, if it's in the wintertime and you have all this inclement weather and ice, it's a foot thick, and it could take down power lines. It could keep you from getting out and moving about. If there was a medical emergency, they can't hardly get to you. I mean, they may not have to have the ability to traverse the roads. So that's just 10 that I put together. And if you have any extras that you would consider being the top 10, just let me know in the comment section. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you soon.